Okay, this is going to be a quick demonstration on how to draw this apple, how to start the painting of drawing this apple. Okay, so I'm using the matte side of the paper on the poster board, not the glossy slick side. I'm using the matte kind of rough side. It takes pencil a lot better and erases a lot better. Okay, doesn't matter which side you really paint on or draw on, it's just easier for pencil on this side. Okay. Alright, so let's start out with the contour. This part's pretty basic. Might need to go a little smaller here. Get a little too cramped over here. I need to leave some more space. I can get my cast shadow in. I'm making this a bit smaller, so it's a little challenging to get the right size. I'm being flexible in drawing, kind of lightly and loose. Okay. Using kind of searching kind of marks, like repetitious kind of lines, kind of searching type of line. Stating and restating. Okay. So at this point, the stem, that was pretty easy to see. These are the shapes that are real easy to see. The tricky ones are the ones that are, if I try to designate kind of value shapes, so then I can give myself something to kind of go by. They're very soft edges and to firm edges and values that are very close to one another, but there are these other shapes that I would probably be good for me to try to include to give me some indication of where these values kind of separate or change or transition or gradate. And of course we got these kind of little edges suggested out here as well. And what's tricky again is this edge is fairly apparent, fairly visible, contrast, differences value, a little soft of an edge. That's a fairly hard edge there. That's a really hard edge there. But when they start to really kind of fade and gradate like this, we can still kind of do a little something there, and I'll kind of show you what I do to suggest edges. Okay, so let me go in here, find some shapes and edges that I might try to put in or suggest. Now again, I don't want to go in and paint very separated hard edges. I'm just giving myself kind of a map of different values. I could even do some shading if I want to. Just trying to indicate where these different things are. So as I kind of go ahead and figure out their size and location. Now sometimes what I'll do for areas like this is I'll kind of go back and forth kind of like this. This kind of indicates a transition between these areas. So there's kind of a value transition that's so gradated I really can't put like a contour like that on it. So I just kind of do some kind of linear kind of hatching to kind of suggest that area of value change and gradation. So again, these are pretty visible and apparent. Now this had a couple of different light sources on it, it appears. So I got sort of this contour of an edge of a shadow and this other shadow and this other shadow here. These multiple kind of edges. Really important to get that cast shadow in there to make sure we've left enough room for this side of the drawing. Although mine is a little more cramped right here than what's in the photograph. Again, to soften the contour, I can just kind of do a little kind of back and forth kind of linear contour suggestion. That's another way to kind of go about indicating what's there. Because something like that just would not describe what that is very well. That would say a hard edge, and that is not a hard edge. Okay, so look back over a little bit. Is there anything else I need to do to it before I get into the painting? Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. All right. Now, if you really wanted to, I am providing this picture as well, okay? Now, if you see, perhaps I've just, in my own interpretation, by looking at this, created something much similar to this, except notice how hard of an edge this created versus what I created. And and I did include maybe a little bit more detail than what this is, excuse me, providing. So this is kind of just sort of an aid, a visual aid, but I don't think it quite provides necessarily what you could filter out of this to come up with something like this, your interpretation, okay? All right, so that's a good start.